Welcome to Outdrive, folks. I'm your host, Cliff Callis, and each week I'm bringing you actionable marketing insights you can apply to reach, connect with, and convert rural American consumers. Outdrive is powered by Callis, a full-service advertising agency with a focus on marketing rural America. Callis offers a wide range of integrated marketing services, including website development, search engine marketing, social media, video, and digital. We develop strategic and creative campaigns to build your brand and your business, and you can learn more about us at ecallis.com. Now join me in the front seat as we head out on the road to success. Let's go. Hey folks, welcome to Outdrive. We've got another great story to share with you today about life and work in rural America. You know, insurance is one of those things that you've got to have, but you hope you never need it. And I think most people really don't understand it. Think about this. When have you ever read an insurance policy from start to finish? There's always fine print. Sometimes there's exclusions, and there are always multiple options for any one kind of insurance you may be considering. So to me, this makes the relationship you have with your insurance broker and your insurance agent so important. You have to be able to depend upon them to help you cover your risk, because that's really what we're talking about. You need an agent you can trust, because if you ever do have a problem, you want to make sure you can contact that agent and get things taken care of for you. One of those guys is Sonny Broyles. And for 25 years, Sonny has been helping people protect their assets, their families, and their livelihoods as an agent and now as managing partner for Preuitt Insurance. Stay tuned as we talked about the insurance business, the different types of insurance you may need, and why you need to make sure you're covered just in case. I think you'll find it interesting. Welcome to Outdrive, Sonny.
Thank you, Cliff. Thanks for having me today.
Well, I'm happy to have you. I've been looking forward to visiting, finding out about your role in the insurance business, and really learning more about the insurance business. You know, I think it's one that, everybody has insurance, right? And maybe multiple different kinds, but, do they really understand what they have and the importance of the agent relationship and all that? But before we get into talking about, the ins and outs of insurance, let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us about Sonny Broyles.
Well, I was born and raised in Sedalia. My family has lived here I was just looking, my grandfather graduated from Smith Cotton in 1934. So I've got a long history of living in Sedalia on both sides of my family. I graduated from Smith Cotton High School in 1983 and attended State Fair Community College. And I started my working career in high school. I don't know if you want to know all this. I worked at Kmart when I was 16. So I worked that. It was my first job. And then after college, I started working at a company called Payless Cashways, which is where Duke Manufacturing is right now. So I worked there for 10 years. I was in auditing. So I worked there. And from there, Warren Preuitt called me, who was a prior agency owner. He was the insurance owner at the time of Preuitt Insurance Services. And he asked me, what would I think about doing insurance? I was like, I knew nothing about insurance, to be honest with you. And a friend of mine, a classmate, Lisa Lamb, I don't know if you know Rob and Lisa Lamb. Lisa actually worked here at the time, and she's saying, Sonny, come on and do this. You'll really like it. So I did a leap of faith, and I started working here in 1998 as an agent.
Awesome. So you must like it.
Oh, yes, I do love it. I love helping people. I love talking to people and educating them. On a different note, I am married. My wife, Lori, is a retired public school teacher, and she actually teaches now at State Fair Community College. And my daughter, I have one daughter, and her name is Macy, and she just turned 21. So I started kind of late having children. So
yeah, better late than never, though, right?
That's right. Exactly.
So, you born and raised here, stayed here. Why?
Honestly, I love Sedalia. I love Central Missouri. I don't know anything else, Cliff, but I love it because, we can go to Kansas City, takes an hour. We can go to Columbia and do stuff. It takes an hour. To the lake, it's about an hour. We're so central in this area, but we can still come home to a small town feel. And I love that.
Yeah, same here. So what were your interests growing up? You said you went to State Fair Community College for education.
I went to school to do business management. In high school, I dabbled with playing golf, did that. And that was mainly the most sport that I did was do that. I wasn't very good at it, but I did do that. And in fact, a lot of my clients are old classmates too that are still in Sedalia, so I do get to see them quite a bit. So,
Which is a nice perk, isn't it?
oh yeah, definitely. And longevity. I've had clients here that I've had ever since I've started. And that's been almost 25 years ago. So,
Yeah, well, congratulations on that. I mean, 25 years, one role.
time goes too fast.
Well, it does. It does fly by. But those relationships that you develop over the years can be pretty valuable in business.
Oh, exactly.
I'm sure you're experiencing that. I know you probably get out and travel some, whether it's job or for fun. How do you characterize the people of rural Missouri?
I think the people in rural Missouri are very friendly. I experience that more than if you go to the cities. I mean, I feel like in the bigger communities, people are not as personable, as they are in rural central Missouri area. And that's in just all kinds of I have some customers at the lake or where it's the same, it's rural Missouri. I think we're wired a little bit differently, maybe.
I agree. I agree with that. So you've been in the insurance business for 25 years, and Warren Preuitt sort of recruited you to come into the business. And of course, now you're the owner and managing partner. But why did you choose to actually go into insurance? Was there something about it that intrigued you or attracted you to it?
Yeah, when Warren called me and talked to me, and like my friend Lisa and classmates, she worked here at the time. Warren just told me everything. He said, Sonny, you'd really like it. If you like people and trying to help people, you'll really enjoy it. And I was ready for a change, Cliff, anyway. Mine was not a very public job. It was an auditing. So what it is, we audited product, like hardware product. So I was ready for a change. And I call it is almost a God thing because Warren called me up out of the blue. I really didn't know. I knew of Warren, but I didn't know him personally, and it was the best thing I ever did.
Good to hear. Well, I've always thought of you as a people person, and certainly insurance is all about people and providing services to it. What do you think it takes to be really good at it?
Honestly, just like you said, being a people person, knowing your product and wanting to help people. Because I'll be honest, a lot of people calling me or bring their resume by. Well, I'm thinking about going into insurance or what does it take? And, some people just aren't wired for it. I just feel like you have to be very outgoing, not afraid to talk to people. You have to talk about coverages. And I think that's a very important thing, getting to know the person, being interested on getting to know the person. We're just not like a Walmart where you're checking out and that's all you're doing all day. This is very specified, business.
So do you find it challenging to sell a service that's, sort of, it's here, it's important, but it's not tangible. It's something very intangible.
Well, in insurance, it is definitely an intangible product. Honestly, people do not like insurance. It's something that you have to have, but it's something that they can't feel and touch. It's not tangible. That's getting them over that, and understand the value of it. The best value of it is when, God forbid, I've had a client where their house is burnt down or their home has been struck by a tornado and we've had to rebuild the home, and it gives me so much satisfaction that, they've sent letters to the companies saying how well the claim went, they're happy. And that really helps me because sometimes in insurance, things go good. And then some things cannot go good, depending on what happened too.
Yes, sort of a risk reward. And I always think that the relationship with your agent And really insurance company in general has to be pretty strong, and you really have to trust your agent to take
Yes.
care of you. You know, these policies that insurance companies put out are really pretty intimidating.
Well, yeah, it's attorney language, a lot of it. It's like in one section you cover stuff, and another section may say we may exclude something too. So you're exactly right.
So do the insurance companies teach and train agents on, what these things mean?
Yeah, we have to, with my license with the state of Missouri, we're continually, all the time, doing continuing education. And if there's new products that come on, we get trained with that. But it's something with my license, I have to have at least 16 hours of continuing education to renew my license each time. So it's a continual education. Of course, things have changed. And with COVID, we do a lot of webinars online. We're just getting back in the last year of going, if I need to go to Kansas City or Columbia or Jeff City for classes, they're starting to do that now, but a lot of it is through webinars, Zoom, just different things like that.
So you guys are an independent agent, right?
Yes, yeah. And what an independent agent is, I carry many companies to try to fit the needs for everybody. Where your captive companies, which are like State Farm, American Family, Shelter, they specify on one product, like a home product, an auto product, a business product, where we carry several companies of each line, which is, property casualty is like your home and auto, boat, recreational lines, coverages, rental homes, some of those. And then the life and health is, of course, your health insurance, your senior products, which are like Medicare supplements, things like that, life insurance. So
what are the advantages to your customers of you being an independent agent?
Well, take for instance, I had a customer, they called me and they were buying a home. And they wanted me to rate the home for them, give them a price on the coverages. And so I was able to quote like 6 different companies out for them to see what would be the best fit for them, because insurance is based, a lot of people don't like this, but it is based on what they call an insurance score. They don't call it a credit score, but it's based on insurance scoring, which has credit built into it. So if you have a very high credit score, you could pay less for your insurance. Now, I do have some companies that do not run on insurance scoring, and that's more of a flat rate, but that actually works really well for them because it still gives them, a fair price.
Sure. So I know you don't do all this yourself. Tell us about Preuitt Insurance.
Yeah, I have a staff of 6 people. I could even name them by names if you want me to, but I have Corey Bond, specializes in commercial lines and farm lines. And Corey is a graduate of UCM, and I hired him right out of college. And I just hired Drake Peterson, who just graduated from UCM, and he's doing personal lines. And then I have Megan Evans, who's been with me a long time, over 10 years. Bridget Markham, which has been with me for 23 years. And then Kim Horstman, over 10 years. And then Tracy Gleason, over 5 years. So I've got a real strong staff. We do not have employee turnover, Cliff. And I'm so blessed in that, because I do know a lot of companies are struggling finding people and keeping employees. So I feel very blessed in that.
Well, I think that probably says a lot about you and your leadership skills and your brand and the products and services that you sell. For those people who may not be fully familiar with insurance, when you say the words personal lines, what do you mean by that?
Personal lines is your home, auto, recreational lines. And that kind of recreational lines is like if you have a boat or you have a UTV, ATV, motorcycle. That's what personal lines insurance is.
So things related to a consumer and the things that they have.
Right. They're personal home, they're personal autos. And then on the commercial lines would be business insurance. That could be business property, business auto. We do trucking insurance through our agency too. We do a big array of different things. Shopping centers, small business, just an array of different things on that.
Do you have a specialty? I mean, if there was one thing that you were known for, besides being a great guy and running a great insurance business, what is there one thing?
It seems like, and I have a lot of people that refer to us on the home insurance. That's such a big thing now. Rates have kind of started ticking upward because of the massive losses and storms and different things like that. And the economy, plays a part in different things, which our economy is kind of up and down. I have a lot of referrals on home insurance. Honestly, though, the last couple years, our commercial lines has just exploded. I think with me hiring on a commercial lines agent that specifies in that has helped so much because that's what he does. And that really has helped us a lot explode that market too.
So you've been doing this for 25 years now. What do you think it takes to run a successful business?
One thing, we've touched on this being a people person and, just trying to help everyone. I didn't manage people, before I became an owner. So that has been different. And just listening to everyone's concerns and all of us being on the same page. And we try to do fun things. There's one little thing I do. I bring in lunch. We order lunch in every Friday. So whether it be Katie's, Little Bighorn, things like that, we always try to do a lunch, of which, I always do that. Just doing some fun things too and make it fun because it can be very stressful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like you've created a nice culture and a great environment in which to work. Every business has challenges, right? And, sometimes they're related to people, sometimes they're related to other things. What kind of challenges do you face in growing your business?
I would say my first challenge was, so I purchased the agency in 2019. Well, then, COVID hit in 2020. That changed some things a lot, to where we weren't open. People were calling in their payments. We were still doing business, but it changed a lot and it was so hard. But we only stayed, what I would say, not open to the public for maybe 30 days. And then we were just full on back to business because I know there was some other businesses that could not open as fast, and I was just blessed that everyone was still here. We remained healthy, and that really helped us a lot. And I would say that was my biggest challenge is getting through the COVID because, you were so used to doing things a certain way before and you had to change things, technology, in the midst of all this, we got a whole new computer systems and stuff. And people don't realize, I've got 10 computer system or stations, where, this building wasn't built for that at the time. It was built probably in the mid 50s and they didn't have computers. So we did a total remodel where I had to totally redo all the electrical, update everything, phone systems change. And that was my biggest. It wasn't actually a people thing. It was just staying up with the technology, which we do. We have to keep up with the fastest, internet speed. Everything is technology now. We are paralyzed if we do not have our technology.
Absolutely. We are a technology-driven civilization today.
Oh, and it's moving so fast. I mean, you can purchase programs and maybe in 3 months they're out of date already. So it's hard to keep up with.
It is hard to keep up with it, but your customers are dependent upon it, right?
Oh, yeah. And that's the main thing. Our customers are wonderful. And like I said, I have a lot of longevity in our customer base, which I love. I have a lot of, the agency started in 1961 with Warren's father-in-law, J.D. Schlobaum, and Warren Preuitt. Warren came in later, but J.D. actually started the agency then. And then Warren came on in the 70s, and then J.D. retired in the early 90s. So it's been ongoing since 1961, which it has a lot of longevity to it.
And so, you came on board as an owner, 4 years ago now?
Yes.
But you maintained the name. You kept the brand name. Why did you do that?
I did, Cliff, and I really thought about that a lot. I could have changed the name, but the thing is, that name has been around so long and people know that name. And if you totally try to rebrand and do all this, I was afraid, well, could we lose some of our customer base? Would that make people worry, oh, what's going on over there? So I kept everything the same, really, and that's worked out so well.
Well, one of the things that we talk about in our business is brand equity. And what does a brand stand for? So when I ask you that question, when I ask you, what does Preuitt Insurance stand for? What do you think that means to your customers?
I think that it stands for stability, longevity. And that's one thing I do talk to people about when I'm doing quotes. I always give them kind of a little history, because we have so many new people in our town, in our area. But, I actually insure down at the lake. I've got stuff in Kansas City, Columbia, Springfield. We're licensed everywhere in the state of Missouri. And I also did get licensed in the state of Iowa because I insure a nonprofit that has a location in Iowa too, because I wanted to be able to service them in Iowa and Missouri. But that's the thing. I think longevity, stability, that means a lot. And having people know us, I'm not having new employees every month or whatever. It's longevity. So people know, oh, I talked to Megan a couple of years ago. Megan's still here. We're all still here. So they do love that.
I relate to that as well. And, we're in similar type businesses, we're
Yes.
a service-related business. And we believe in the adage that people do business with people that they know, like,
Right.
And so getting to know them, getting to like what you stand for, who you are, what you're all about, what your values are, and then hopefully at some point getting the opportunity to trust you to handle their business.
Exactly. And that's the thing. When I'm quoting someone, you don't get every person you quote. A lot of times it's price. They may say, oh, I could get it less expensive somewhere else. But it's funny, sometimes people do that and then they're coming back in 6 months they realize the value, of the insurance and that the coverages and things like that on it.
And you mentioned this sort of earlier, most everyone, that has any assets, who has employment, who has a car, everybody's pretty much got insurance. And so that, What that means, I think, from my perspective, is there's a lot of potential customers out there.
Oh, it's endless, Cliff. It's endless.
So how do you reach them? What kind of marketing strategies are you using in your business that you're finding successful in bringing on new customers?
Sure. So I do a lot of advertising. I do the digital billboard at 5065 Highway. I do the one that's on the state fairgrounds. I do some newspaper. I've kind of started dabbling into some radio and just starting maybe some digital marketing too. That's kind of new for me. And that's kind of how I try to do the marketing. Also, I try to, if I have a nonprofit come in that needs a donation, to put on a event, I always try to give to those. I give to a lot of sports teams. I feel like that I try to give as much as possible to stuff.
Yeah.
And, naturally that gets your name out there too.
Absolutely. Marketing is not just doing one thing, but it's doing things that all work together. And, part of it is brand recognition and awareness. And, I heard about Preuitt Insurance. And then there's actually trying to attract leads, generate leads to come to you that actually give you the opportunity to quote some work, make some recommendations.
And we have a good logo too. It's a house that says Preuitt on it. So I've kept that for 4 years because I think that's kind of a good logo, on that too. So.
Which is important. People need to be able to instantly recognize you.
Right. Because, Cliff, we have a lot of newer people that have moved into our communities, they're military, the new industries that are in town. We have a lot. Things have changed throughout the years in Sadea, where years ago, you could probably attest to that, there just wasn't a lot of people moving around. And now Sadea's changed a lot. As far as people moving in, moving out, they may only stay 3 or 4 years and they're gone. So I think that's synonymous with a lot of communities that things have just changed where people are more mobile now. People are working from home so they can work. I deal with underwriters. I have one underwriter that is in Tennessee. So when I call for help, he's working at home in Tennessee. He's not at the main facility. He's out of state. And a lot that has really become the norm now.
Yeah, it's amazing how many different types of jobs you can do from home.
Oh, yes.
Really, I think is going to have some impact on the commercial real estate market.
Well, and I was just talking about that the other day. We were in Kansas City, and there's still tons of building going on. I was just amazed. But then right next to it, there's tons of lease available. And I'm like, I'm surprised we're still building so much when there's so much occupancy. But someone told me that the cost to build still is less expensive than trying to lease stuff. I don't know if I agree with that, but
probably very situational.
Yeah, because building costs have really went up too. So
absolutely. Well, you seem like you really enjoy what you do. What's your typical day like?
Well, I always start early in the morning. I'll just tell you, because I see your dad some. I always go to Panera, where I see your dad, Jim, a lot. I think he's there one day a week. And then I'll come into the office and just start my day. I may have quotes that I need to work on for people or amendments to their policies. And then the phones, they're ringing too. And I get emails. So I'm answering those, answering the phone. And it's different every day, Cliff. My day is never the same, which I love that.
You've been at this a few years now. How do you plan to grow your business? I assume you want to continue to grow.
Yes, and I have grown since we started. I purchased it in 2019. We have grown quite a bit. I had another agency owner call me. Oh, this has been about a year ago, and he needed extra companies. Well, he was a small rural, we're talking very small rural agency, and he couldn't get any large companies because you have to have what they call volume. They want a certain amount of volume within 2 years. And a lot of these smaller companies cannot do that, or agency owners. So he started working with me, and I give him access to all of my carriers. And so that has worked well out. So it's like I have what would you say, more virtual branch. And I'm thinking about doing that more because he's more in the Boonville, Tipton areas, Bunston, and those that rural area. So he's got a lot of contacts in there, and it's worked out well. And I would like to do that maybe like in more south, like Warsaw areas. Marshall, is another area. It's very expensive just to open agencies and stuff, brick and mortar, I guess. This would be more traveling, but it has worked out well so far. But I've also thought about opening an agency, having a space down there because there is a big need for that.
Sounds like the opportunity is there, and I like that approach. I really do.
We've grown just by being who we are, the marketing, and people refer us. I have a lot of real estate agents that refer to us, mortgage brokers, either on their own or at the banks, that always refer to us because we do give choices, and we try to help the customer the best, keeping their rates down because, a lot of that depends when they're purchasing a home, if they can afford the home or not, because they have to keep within a certain amount of, I guess, a debt ratio, so.
And so do you advise them on that?
Yes, I do. I try to tell them, okay, this is where we're at, and that's when I try to tailor the policy. I'm really big on coverage because I want them to have the right coverage, but every company has a different rate, on how they rate a home. It goes by the age of the home. How old is the roof? That's one thing a lot of people don't, when they're purchasing a home, they don't know how old that roof is. And, with the current weather problems we've had with hail and everything else, a lot of the roofs already have hail damage on them, or they're very old roofs that almost need to be replaced again. And the thing is, our largest year of losses was in 2006. It was a March storm, and I mean, it hailed and hailed and hailed. And I think at that time, Warren told me we had like 1,800 claims
Holy cow.
between autos and homes, and he always said we re-roofed about most of West Sedalia, and some of the roofs are still those 2006, which really isn't that old, but they are now. Roofs aren't lasting 35 years like people think they when the roofer comes, oh, you've got a 35-year roof. I never go by that anymore. So that's changed a lot.
So when people come to you and they're thinking about selecting Preuitt Insurance as their insurance brokerage and provider, what's your approach for getting started with a new customer?
Well, a lot of, sometimes they'll just come in. And so what we do is we'll do a quote. And so we, do the usual information and everything. And I'll ask them, do you have any tickets or accidents? This is on auto, and get all their information. What are all the drivers? Because sometimes we do need to know who all the drivers are, that are driving that car, because if there's an accident, there's nothing worse than you turning in a claim and the carrier, the adjuster calls, and that person's not even on the policy. Now, it could be that, which is, you're right, you can say it's called permissive use. You could have your daughter, you could say, oh, well, you can borrow my car, and which is great. That's called permissive use. But if you have a household member that lives with you and they're not listed and they're driving the vehicle, the companies want to know who all the drivers are. So that's very important. But I just try to get as much information I can, and then we start doing the quotes. And we have what they call a comparative rater, which will rate, I think we can rate 10 companies for auto insurance. And that'll give us like the top 5, and then from then we can go into the company portal, each company, and finalize to see, okay, is this the best fit for the client? And that's how we come up with our rate. It's getting the proper information, Cliff, on that, because there is a lot, people don't realize there is a lot of information needed on auto insurance. In fact, any kind anymore.
That all makes sense.
And they will find out if there's any tickets or accidents that are not disclosed, because they do their own. Well, a lot of our companies, they do it online with me now. So if I put in, oh, this customer said they don't have anything, and it pulled up an at-fault accident from 2 years ago, the companies do find out about that, and they will automatically rate for that too. So
As they should, right?
Yeah, but I feel blessed that I have some companies that specialize in that too. The people that may have had glitches, things do happen like DUIs, DWIs, and things. So we have companies for that. I try to carry a wide range of everything to help everybody.
Funny you call that a glitch.
Yeah, that's my word for it now, a glitch.
Well, I know you stay abreast with what's happening, and you talked earlier about how technology is driving everything. What kinds of cool or innovative things are you seeing, in the world today from a marketing perspective? What do you think is really different?
Well, digital marketing is probably the biggest. And I was just talking to one company the other day, and they were talking about how they can capture like a field around you, like 60-mile radius. Oh, I cannot remember what that's called.
Geofencing.
Geomapping. Yeah. Yeah. And that was amazing to me, because what it does is it puts your name out there, or your company. So if they inputted insurance, it'll pop up Preuitt Insurance. And there's different ways that they can do that on the digital marketing side, which is really neat, I think. That's probably the biggest thing, is the digital aspect of it. Even the newspaper now is getting into digital, because, the newspapers are changing quite a bit, so they need that extra field. Well, another thing, and we got our new phone book the other day. I don't know if you got, it is only this thick. I mean, hardly anything in it. So I kind of look for that to honestly disappear in the next year or two because there's hardly anything left in it.
Yeah, and that's amazing because of how thick it used to be. And it just shows you how, marketing is an ever evolving, changing industry and marketplace. And you have to stay up with what's effective. But, the bottom line is you need to know where your customers are and potential customers, and that's where you need to be. And today, they're all living on a mobile device that they keep in their pocket or on their desk. That they're on all day, every day. And so how do you reach them? Well, you got social media, you got digital advertising, you have geofencing.
Right.
And, and all of that works. It's not that newspapers don't work. They still work too.
Yeah. But it's just everything's changing, and you do have to keep up on it.
Absolutely. Well, Sonny, I've really enjoyed visiting with you today. I've learned a lot about Preuitt Insurance and about what you guys are all about. What else would you like to share with our audience today that you think they might find interesting or maybe inspiring?
You touched on that earlier, Cliff, is our longevity and stability in the company. Preuitt Insurance, like I said, the business started in 1961. We're still the same. We're a hometown company. We try to give good, personable service to everybody, and we do care about people. And I feel like that is the main thing on a business, caring about people.
Absolutely.
And being involved in the community too. Right now, I'm president-elect of the Sedalia Area Chamber of Commerce, which I've really enjoyed that. I'm on the board of the Sedalia Main Streets, which is the downtown taxing district on that. And I'm involved in my church where I go to church at. And I just try to be out there as much as I can. My main thing is servicing my customers, helping them, being available to them. And I'm not moving. I mean, it was funny because I was telling you about my grandfather graduated from Smith Cotton in 1934. So my daughter, graduated too. So I guess I'm the fourth, or she is the fourth generation, I think, to graduate from Smith Cotton. So I hope she stays around too. Younger people, they're more mobile now. But I thought maybe she worked at the agency for a little bit. I thought maybe she'd get involved, but she went to State Fair and started working with a nonprofit in Sedalia, Retrieving Freedom. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're a wonderful organization that helps veterans and children with autism. And so right now she just got a promotion. A couple weeks ago, she's an apprentice dog trainer, which is a big thing there. So she's so excited about that.
Well, good for her. You can open the opportunity, but a child needs to find their own path.
Exactly.
Well, Sonny, thank you for being with us today. I've really enjoyed visiting with you.
Well, Cliff, thank you for having me. It's been very enjoyable. And, I love your whole family. I know your dad really well and Mark and you and stuff. And it's been a pleasure being on this. I really appreciate you inviting me to be on here.
You're very welcome. I've enjoyed it. Hey, folks, thanks for listening to Outdrive. I hope you've enjoyed our visit today with Sonny Broyles, Managing Partner for Preuitt Insurance Services. Come back again next week, and I'll take you down the roads of rural America, where it's heaven on earth.
Thanks for taking a ride with us on Outdrive. This episode is complete, so head on over to ecalis.com for more insight you can apply to help drive your business growth. And be sure to sign up for our free monthly e-letter, Outthink, for even more helpful content about marketing to rural America. Have a great day and keep on driving.